Hello and welcome to another Battle for Azeroth class preview video. I promised you the Destruction Warlock and now I shall deliver. When I first started testing this class I was very disappointed, but literally less than 10 minutes ago I downloaded a new build for the beta and it feels a lot better. So let's just get right into the spells and abilities. So if you caught my other videos, you'll know that a lot of the stuff for Warlock's general stuff is pretty much the same. Banish is still the same. Chaos Bolt is still the same basic concept, but it looks cooler. The animation is greatly improved, and I am really eager to see how the rest of the spells look with Green Fire, because that was like the best thing I did as a lock. So Chaos Bolt's pretty much the same. It's still two shards. It's going to cast faster with Backdraft. Conflagrate, Conflagrate. There's like 50 different ways of saying it online. I say Conflagrate. It triggers an explosion on the target. It deals damage, reduces the cast time of your next Incinerate or Chaos Bolt by 30% for 10 seconds. This can be a little bit different with talents. Hellstones still do what Hellstones do. Soulwells still do what Soulwells do. Demonic Gateways, similar to what it is now. Drain Life now is just going to help you get your life back when you need it. Slave Demon still the same. Eye of Kilrog still the same. Fear, same deal. Havoc, same deal. 40-yard range on a 25-second cooldown. Health Funnel, still Health Funnel. Immolate is still going to generate your Soul Shard fragments and have a 50% chance to generate an additional one on a critical strike. That's your lone dot and your generator. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that. Your other spells and abilities generate now too. Forgive me, it's been a while since I've played Destruction, but Destruction has always been one of the specs that I wanted to play most on my Warlock, but it's kind of gone through some rough spots. So yeah, Incinerate's still going to do its same thing. It's going to generate Soul Shard fragments. Rain of Fire is a Soul Shard fragment spender. It's going to do your AoE damage. Ritual Summoning, still the same thing. Shadow Fury, still on a cast with a cooldown, but it looks like the cast has been sped up. And to be honest, I think a lot of the cast times for the spells look like they may have been sped up. Yeah, I don't know. It feels faster, I can tell you that much. Faster than the previous builds. But yeah. Singe Magic is still your command demon ability. It's going to remove a harmful magic effect from an ally. Soulstone still the same. Summon Demon. Yeah, you're pretty much, I would say, between Destruction and Affliction, your probably best bet is going to be to summon your Imp, because that little guy now gives you Blood Pact again, and that's 5% stamina. Can't really do it with Demonology because you got to have your Fell Hunter. That's part of the stick for that. So I am going to set this guy on passive so he'll quit attacking shit and go through the rest. You do have a cooldown in your Summon Infernal. It costs 1 Soul Shard. It summons an Infernal from the Twisting Nether, impacting for 1,000 fire damage and stunning all enemies in the area for 2 seconds. Infernal will serve you for 30 seconds, dealing 873 damage to all nearby enemies every 1.7 seconds and generating 1 Soul Shard fragment every 0.5 seconds. So this is your big cooldown, and it's going to have some play with talents, which I'll go into in just a minute. But Unending Breath, still Unending Breath. Unending Resolve, still your damage reduction. Backdraft is your passive. It's going to Conflagrate. It's going to reduce the cast time of your next Incinerate or Chaos Bolt by 30%. Now, baseline, it's one spell, but I'll go into some things and some talents in just a second. Mastery, Chaotic Energies. Your spells deal 25% increased damage plus a random amount of up to 25% additional increased damage. You take 5% reduced damage plus a random amount of up to 5.5% additional reduced damage. I never liked the Mastery on Destruction Warlock. It feels like it's too random. I get that it kind of goes with the whole chaos theme, but I don't like it. There's enough randomness in World of Warcraft without adding in some extra crap. Soul Leech is still going to do what Soul Leech do. Single target damage done by you and your minions. Grants you and your pet a shadowy shield. Grants you and your pet a shadowy shield that absorbs 8% of maximum damage, up to 15% maximum health. Soul shards, you still generate soul shards. That's a fun thing to say fast, but let's get into the talents. All right, the first row, these talents are kind of, they're interesting, but at the same time, they're not really interesting. So right now, I'm going to say while leveling up, the build for this one is going to have to go around Flashover. Flashover makes Conflagrate deal 10% increased damage and grant an additional charge of Backdraft. That's going to make the spell flow better for right now. Eradication will probably overtake it once your haste levels are up and you can make the most of it. But it's basically the same thing as it was before. It's going to increase the damage you deal to the target by 10% for 7 seconds. I don't know how good that's going to be at low levels where you're 2 and 3 shotting stuff and you're not going to have enough time to really lay into it. So I don't know. Soulfire sounds like a fun spell. It sounds like something that I would want. Unfortunately, it suffers from a couple huge problems. The first of which is a 3.3 second cast. That is stupid long. There's no two ways around it. It is stupid long. You're not going to sit and hard cast a 3-second cast spell. Chaos Bolt's not even 3 seconds. And you're rarely going to want to hard cast that when you don't have a backdraft proc. Soulfire benefited from backdraft or had half the spell. Basically what it's going to do is on a 45-second cooldown. It's going to do 5,238 damage, which is further increased by your critical strike chance, which is basically you're going to, up to a certain point, you're going to do haste, and then crit's probably going to be your next best thing. But 5,238 fire damage is more than Chaos Bolt, but it's on a 45-second cooldown. It doesn't really interact with anything else. I just can't, and it's 3 seconds to hard cast. And it costs a soul shard. It doesn't feel like it's going to be worth it. If it was affected by backdraft, maybe. But let's go on to the next row. Reverse entropy. Your spells have a chance to grant you 15% haste for 8 seconds. Not bad. That's going to be helpful for you. I would say at lower levels, definitely going to be helpful to you while you're leveling up. You got to get spells out faster to kill stuff, and you don't have a lot of haste to start with. But next is internal combustion. Your Chaos Bolt consumes up to 5 seconds of immolate's damage over time on your target, instantly dealing that much damage. That's pretty good. I think this is probably going to be your one that you may take at higher levels when you have more haste. So probably something to keep in mind near end game. Shadowburn. Shadowburn still sucks. Shadowburn's always sucked, but now it has a 12-second recharge. It does 1,000 Shadow Flame damage. The target dies within 5 seconds. Yields experience or honor. Its cooldown is reset. It generates 3 soul shard fragments. This is a change, I think, I want to say in the last 2 builds, because this could be a little bit more viable for more of a faster paced spec. I don't know if you're down to nothing and you want to rebuild your, I don't know. I haven't tested. This is new. This is definitely new, the generating 3 soul shard fragments. I still don't think this is as good as it could be. I don't even know how this could be good, but this might be something to worth testing out. But right now, I like the haste, and haste is definitely something you need when you're leveling up. I want to say maybe mid-tier, maybe end game. This could be worth having, but I think I'll have to test that out a little bit more. Next, Demon Skin, Burning Rush, Dark Pact, they're pretty much all the same. Not really going to affect your DPS. I like the Demon Skin because it's passive, and basically for leveling, you don't have to think about it too much. When you're getting to raiding, you're probably going to want Burning Rush, or if you're going to find yourself soaking stuff, or your progression, you're dealing with stuff like that where you need to be able to survive certain difficult encounters, Dark Pact may be worth it. It's going to be situational. Next, this is for your AoE, basically. None of this is really extremely exciting. I want to say Fire and Brimstone, which is pretty much what it's always been. Your Incinerate now hits all enemies near you target for 40% damage and generates 1 soul shard fragment for each enemy hit. That's going to be great when you have lots of mobs that are kind of semi-packed together, and you're going to be a soul shard generating machine. Again, that is a fun thing to say fast. Inferno's passive if you're not really looking for something too terribly well thought into. I'm keeping it this way just for testing purposes, for single target damage, so I can get a better idea of how that's going without Fire and Brimstone hitting an extra target. But it gives Rain of Fire 20% chance to generate a Soul Shard fragment. That's like nothing. Rain of Fire, it's going to hit, it's your AoE. It's going to do 2,232 damage over 6.6 seconds. So, I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's not going to be very valuable. Cataclysm is pretty much what Cataclysm is. It's on a 1.66 second cast. It's got a 30-second cooldown. It's going to, if you've got a lot of ads in one area that are going to survive for a reasonable amount of time, you can get your immolate on basically on all of them, which is good. It'll do lots of damage, and you'll generate soul shards rather quickly, but I still think Fire and Brimstone is going to be better. Next row, Demonic Circle is, I would say, the go-to one just because it's more control, and Dark Fury because Shadow Fury sucks, and Mortal Coil may have some value in PvP, but I don't really PvP, so I can't tell you. On the next row, Roaring Blaze is moved down quite a bit. It's Conflagrate burns the target for an additional 1,007 fire damage over 6 seconds. That sounds good. It's not going to change your rotation much. If you're going for that passive build, it's not a bad choice. I'm going to go over here to Grimoire of Sacrifice, and I'm going to tell you they've got to just flat spell damage this and not make this something that's random. It's been random for a while. It sacrifices your pet for power, gaining its command demon ability, and causing your spells to sometimes also deal 611 additional shadow damage. I don't like sometimes, and I don't like that very small number. It just doesn't make sense. If they say a 5% increased shadow damage, and you just basically got to do the math to say what damage your pet's doing versus what you're doing, and see if it's going to be worth it to not have them and just have their summon demon or command demon ability, maybe that might be a better way to do with it. But this, it's too little. It just does not seem worth it. That's why I choose Grimoire of Supremacy. This is going to have some pretty good interplay with some of the other spells. It's while you have an Infernal active, every soul shard you spend increases the damage of your Chaos Bolt. So basically what you're going to do with this is you're going to get yourself up to max soul shards. You're going to summon your Infernal, and then you're going to nuke the crap out of your target with Chaos Bolt. And so each soul shard you spend increases the damage of Chaos Bolt by 8%. So you cast the first Chaos Bolt, that's going to spend 2 soul shards. That's going to be a 16% increase right there. You cast the next one, it's going to be another 16% increase, 32. So you'll be doing 32% more damage. There's some math in here, but basically your Chaos Bolt's going to start hitting really hard, and it lasts. The Infernal lasts for 30 seconds, so that's going to be doing some pretty good damage. And if you combine that with the talents in the next row, you'll see that that's going to be even more. There's a couple different ways it can go. So the next row, you have Soul Conduit. It's basically the same as it is. Every soul shard you spend has a 15% chance to be refunded. So your Chaos Bolt's going to give you basically a 30% chance to refund a soul shard. It needs to be higher to make it worthwhile. It's just you're not spending them fast enough to make this really worthwhile, and it's, yeah, I don't know. I don't think it should be higher. I think it was like 20 or 25% at one time. That might be worth it, but this right now in low levels with low haste, it's taken too long to do stuff, so that's not going to be worth it. Channel Demon Fire I think is going to be good for AoE, and especially if you couple it with Cataclysm and you have it in the right scenario. You launch this 15 bolts of fell fire over 2.5 seconds at a random targets afflicted by your immolate within 40 yards. Each bolt deals 314 damage to the target, 140 fire damage to nearby enemies. Yeah, the numbers are low. It's on a 20-second cooldown, so I'm not loving it, but it could have its role in a situation. Dark Soul is another cooldown. I like having the cooldowns because basically it's kind of goes with the core of being a Destruction Warlock, which is to have burst, big burst. and I like having cooldowns for that. So it infuses your soul with unstable power, increasing your critical strike chance by 30% for 20 seconds. You line this up with your Infernal and your Chaos Bolts, and the damage is just going to pour in. So, all right, that's everything. Let's kind of come over here where everyone and their mom is at Stormwind, and let's go hit a training dummy. And I'll look at DPS right now, just to, not really for anything specific, but just to kind of give a roundabout idea of single target. I've tested other specs, so I'm comparing the damage that they do on a level 85 target dummy. So it's not like this is the damage you can expect, but this is the relative comparative damage. Most level 110 brand new are doing about 2.1k or so on level 85 training dummy without any kind of AoE. So let me call my pet, take him off passive, bring him over here. I'm going to generate my soul shards, and then I am going to call my Infernal and use my cooldowns, and we'll see how high we get. All right. So yeah, it's doing pretty good. My Chaos Bolts is increased by 64% now, and yeah, I got it up to 64%, so that's a pretty good window. And you look at that damage, it got really, really high. That is very high for a Destruction Warlock. I'm telling you, this spec has gone some changes since the last time I saw it. I like Destruction. It's pretty much the same as it's always been. It doesn't feel like it has a whole lot of changes or anything on it to make it real special, but I do like the changes with this. But with that, I'm going to let you have a look at it against some actual mobs. Alright, looks like I'm going to get a chance to test out this new Destruction Warlock, and I'm going to test it using the Shadowburn talent. Hopefully nothing tries to kill me right now. This bird is eyeballing me. I don't feel comfortable. He's going to die. Get some soul shards from him. Thank you. Alright, now you'll see that there's a little bit of a group here. I'm going to try and see how well this works single target first and foremost. So here we go. Going to get my shards up. I'm going to use my cooldowns. Look what I'm up to. 48%. Oof. Big L. That guy is dead. I killed him once before while I was testing, but man, did you see how quickly he went down? Ah, I love it. I love it. I love it. I wasted my Infernal a little bit because he went down too quickly, but that is going to be doing some sweet, sweet damage when the time comes for it. And no, I did not experience any bugs, although I did just put that on there that yeah, this is very nice. Very, very nice. Yeah, I'm digging it. It's a lot better than I thought it would be. I still want to say that Demonology is a bit more fun because of the way it plays, but this is not a bad spec, and I'm not taking a lot of damage. That was a big problem with Legion, is that you would get killed. You know, it didn't kill fast enough, and stuff would come get you. You'd get your health down. You know, you'd have to eat after every pull. It was just not as viable. But right now, it feels pretty strong, and it's the normal general rotation, and it's very doable. It's not as exciting. There's some burst to it, most definitely, but it is not a bad spec, and I have to say I'm pretty happy that Blizzard decided to make some of the changes that they did. Um, this is one of those ones that's gonna feel especially good with having a Void Elf. It just there's no getting around it. You know, Void Elves have that chaotic energies thing going, and it works well. It works really well, and it meshes with caster specs in general. So I'm liking it. Hope you like it. I'm gonna kill this guy. He's just about dead. There he goes. Ooh, I like it. Ooh, gotta love gear drops. No bugs from him. I love it when gear drops because there's rares, and it definitely has that feel in here that when you get gear, it feels like you've got a chance at an upgrade whenever you kill a rare, especially as you're leveling up. So I definitely like it. This spec's a lot better than I thought it would be. I'd recommend it. I don't think it's as good as Demonology. Affliction, like I said in my previous videos, it had those huge crits I wasn't expecting, but it had some different choices in play style. This doesn't have as much choices. I feel like there's still some stuff that needs to be fixed, but not a bad spec. I might give it a try when Battle for Azeroth actually hits. So I think that's going to do it for me. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, all those fun things, and I will see you next time.